team in the dead center, the Syndicate. Now, I don't know about you guys in chat if you've been watching a ton of these Delta Force show matches or in Europe Warfare goes, well, you know they're going to be back. They're going to be prevalent, and you're going to see a ton of Lunas coming through.
Yeah, this will be a fun one. Here we go. So we've got Threshold as a reminder. I'm sure you've played Threshold, but as a quick reminder, you've got A, which is going to be that courtyard area. So it's going to be a kind of a quad, and you can blow open some of the walls. But it is kind of a breach and clear and try to possess the middle of that quad, which can be quite difficult as the attack if you don't approach it correctly. You really need to make sure you pile up, play behind your vehicles, but also don't lose your vehicles in the process. That was probably the biggest mistake we saw in Europe, was some vehicle players getting a little too high risk and losing their vehicles early, which really stifles the attack. Now, as a reminder, this is Victory Unite. It's because of that, we've got less lives than usual. Usually it's around 180 per map. And of course, you only get about 60 or so per capture point that you take. If you're able to move on to the next point in the new sector. So not a lot of room to work with when it comes to lives, but a lot of room to work with when it comes to earning score, especially if their commanders play well. So we'll see what the commanders are able to do as we hop into the game. And like I said, 180 lives on the clock. Let's see what our attack's able to do and how many they're able to keep up. How many revives are we going for? I think the record from Europe, our top medic, was 125, if I remember correctly, Tiff. A crazy number. Let's see what our attack's able to do.
Look, your goal is just to break triple digits if you want to find yourself in some of those individual awards, but picking things off here on board with G7 from Team Alpha. Now, mind you, we do know on the attacking side for Team Alpha, it's going to be Snarf X from NYXE that is the commander. So keep an eye on them for them to be able to give the comms across all teams and control it all.
Yeah, I'm calling him Snarf. I don't know if it's Snarf or it's something else, but Snarf it is for now, and you can correct me later. But a nice start here for the defense. You can see, again, if you didn't watch earlier, this is our esports observer mode, so everybody that's attacking is going to be in red, and everybody defending is going to be in green. So our attackers already have swung up on the flank, pushed onto the point, getting stifled here for a couple heroes on the left side. But the attack has way more bodies on the point already. Looks like the defense already on their heels.
Ooh, this is gonna be tough. And as you see it there, only lost 6 tickets thus far. Mr. Wormy, on your screen, this team is the Syndicate. Now, we were talking about how much they've shown through the show matches, but diving in here to the Delta Force Global League and Zinsire, we've seen him go crazy, but gets lost out there. It's just those tight angles I was talking about, Ghosh. You've really got to be hyper vigilant because you can easily get flanked, and Zeo just trying to do some of that themselves.
That's a good shout. But a quick aggressive motion here is exactly what you want from the attack. Traditionally, when we talk about Victory Unite, we talk about how much value there is in being the defensive side if you're coordinated. But look at this extremely well-coordinated attack. Already swung up onto the point, formed a wall all together. No reason to do anything else besides just stack bodies onto the point, especially if you can push the defense back. You have the advantage in point A, and usually it goes quick. I wasn't expecting it to go this quick, though. A very fast cap, and we are moving on to the B points almost instantaneously. Tiff, I don't know if this is a bad omen for our defense, or if they just said in chat together, hey, we're not worried about A, let's make sure we don't give away B.
Look, it's respectable, right? I was talking about a lot of the things that we'd be witnessing, but this team is going for the hyper aggro stretch. You've got the Stinger, you've got the Nox, you've got all of the goodies here to make sure that you could just lay down that pressure and just keep moving forward. But would you expect anything less when you've got some returning winners from Delta Force Season 1 on that Global League side of things, especially NYXE? You've got For Fun Esports, and they threw down so many kills. I'm talking NYXE was responsible for over 1,000 of those kills. Now, granted, we're playing in a different game mode, less tickets and lives in general, but there's still a lot of kills to be had.
Definitely a lot of kills to be had, and it looks like somebody's already in the bird. We'll see who it is. You're right. Snarf is going to be the commander for the attacking side, and so far, so good for the commander. As per the usual, Mr. Wormy has found his way into the helicopter, and as one could imagine, especially when it comes to pubs lobbies, you've probably seen some folks, Mr. Wormy included, tear up those lobbies with this helicopter. For the small bird, though, a well-coordinated strike absolutely could take it out quickly, especially in a coordinated esports effort like this. So we'll see how much value he's able to truly get out of it. Nice flank here from Chicka Chicka Boom on Wormy's team. Get a revive and a kill.
Look, I'm telling you, he's at this point, he's my lord and savior when it comes to the Mr. Wormy in the helicopter. You never know what you're going to get in. Chick, chick, boom.
Ooh.
5 HP goes for the re-peak, but thankfully, you've got a Stinger on your side there. Sometimes, I'm telling you, it's always good to have a pocket healer. We talk about pocket engineers, but knowing that you have that individual reward for top medics and preserving those tickets when it comes to the attacking side of things. Absolutely blackout, though. That was kind of unfortunate for them.
Patience is a virtue in many games in Warfare. Occasionally it is, and right now already the attack not being very patient at all, just swinging on these points as fast as humanly possible. Again, Alpha is our attacking team. Bravo, when we were talking about those team lists on the defense. And the attack has taken B1. They are getting stifled now. They're not able to just immediately take B2, and it's mostly because of this tank on the other side for the defense already set up. And it looks like G7 is going to try to get Mixie here. Be able to play this flank. Trades one, but tank stays interior. This is a huge boon too. Some of the nuance here, obviously, is that basically to take out this tank, you're either going to have to use Viren magnetic bombs or an AT4. Javelins and other launchers obviously can't go indoors, so they drop straight down. So that vehicle pretty safe and getting a lot of value on B2.
Well, our first Luna is going to be Warwick here, and I love that I was talking about how we're going to see a ton of them. Actually, we've seen a real large diversity when it comes to our operator utilization, and Playboy here on the Stinger trying to just kind of hit the knife for the quick rotate, play off the smoke. Now, this is why a lot of that recon is going to be important. You can throw the detection arrow straight into a smoke if you need that information, but right now, just trying to hold on a bit longer for the defense side of things.
The attack's doing a nice job of holding B1 while also pressuring B2. Something we always talk about, and we've got a guided missile here from Luru, one of their abilities. Only extremely valuable. So far, again, B1 contested, but still held quite nicely for the attack. On the defensive side, it is a lone survivor here that will end up falling. Cut down as we continue to move on and check out some of these other POVs.
Ooh, okay. I don't know if that vehicle just got exploded. It did. Okay, they drove, they got 5 seconds, and then you see it all go up in flames. G7 on your screen. Now, look, they've already made some adaptations because they came in with triple Tempest, which is wild, and now Demons is the only one that's going to keep locking it back in. I was like, look, if you're going hyper aggro, that's a heck of a way. One of the newest operators, that assault operator, we're talking about just a movement legend when it comes to just being able to roll around. You do have her ult that kind of drags you back and almost gives you that extra life. But sure, people can camp it. It can get a little wild, but it's just going to be Demons going to be the last Tempest alive for that roster.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But B2 about to be captured here for attack. This is the classic tug of war. Again, I'll use this a lot, but the tug of war usually goes one way and then the other, and they go back and forth until one side finally wins. And so far, the attack, yes, they gave a little leeway over on B1, but a nice recap here. It looks like the attack's going to very quickly take B1 and B2. And they are flying through this map already. Still, again, over 100 lives moving into C1, C2 is going to be a huge boon for this team if they're able to continue to hold. And they're just winning their ones right now. Ooh. Really great shots. Finally traded out, but it doesn't matter. We're at nearly max lives going into C1, C2. Was not expecting this from the attack. Very well done.
No, we were just on board with Onion Esports, and sure, they were taking lives before they got ripped apart, but as we move on, get geared up for Sector C, you're going to have all of those points that are going to be difficult, right? We're talking about, like, you can bring in a lot of artillery to hit hard, and it can help destroy and break down the map, but honestly, when you look at NYXE on your screen, they are just guns ablazing, just full sending straight on towards. You can see the defense is going to be situated over there by C1, looking for some open sight lines. But when you've got the attackers on Team Alpha, just full investing a vehicle on the front line to open the door for NYXE.
And again, this is exactly what you want to see. C1 and C2 are traditionally extremely difficult on this map. Now, you can open things up with some guided missiles and bring down one of these buildings, which is really cool to watch. But what I'm a little worried about is if the defense can't find any footing here, we could be done very quickly. This is exactly what you want to do if you're an attacking team that has a lot of momentum. You've got to keep up the pace. You can never let the defense find footing and reset up, but they could stifle you enough to where they win this, especially with the lower amount of lives in Victory Unite. The attack is guns blazing, flying at these points.
Hey, look, lock it in. D-Wolf here for the aggro plays. Look, sometimes you just need an assault operator. Plus, you do have that tactical smoke that you can use if you need to, but the push comes in, and look at Nori here behind enemy lines and just holding it down. It's allowing the rest of the attacking side to kind of filter through the doorway, and you do have, oh my God, Vyron with the movement like that. Just keep it moving. This is what I'm talking about. I have not seen such a hard-hitting squad in a very long time, and you know what, Coach? Team Alpha is looking cohesive.
Yeah, they really are. And they're also just, you know, winning their ones. They're winning their hero plays. You know, we talk about macro all the time in Warfare. If you're able to win a lot of these trades and take out 2, 3, 4, 5 even for Nori right now by yourself, it can be a crazy amount of value. This is truthfully and frankly not even close to start things off, which I was not expecting from Alpha. Bravo has some extremely heavy hitters as well. Really good team chemistry already pre-built. But it doesn't matter. The attack is flying through this map extremely quickly. C1 already going to their hands. And now the defense can't even hardly get out of their spawn on the backs of the likes of Nori and others who are throwing down some covering fire. Obviously, SMG range isn't going to work that well from that far away, but it at least is harrying them enough to where they feel like they can't get anywhere. C1 and C2 both getting capped at the same time. Jeez.
Yeah, they just keep on moving. And honestly, seeing Nori here, I was curious what that was going to look like, knowing that Sirent was their highest performing player back in Season 1. And when you're swapping that out, you've got to have someone that's going to be absolutely stellar come in, and they are just straight into the mix, looking brilliant. So you've got our commander here. Last alive gets lit up, is able to dive behind. The push comes in, baits him through. Let's keep going. But unfortunately, from behind up the stairs, it's like you just keep that pressure moving forward. Now, Wag gonna take the four-wheeler, grab the homies. Nori's gonna spawn right on the back of him, and they're gonna look for kind of a vantage point that they can go ahead and get into the fray.
A nice push from the attackers again, but I actually quite like taking C2 here and having C1 be the final point you need to capture. And it looks like that was mostly out of necessity because the defense was able to swing on a C1 a lot faster. And see where all the defense is set up here on C1, and we got some hero plays again from Nori, who's kind of playing frontman, trying to look for some of these early aggressive fights, especially if you can trade out multiple, could open things up for your team. Little vehicle battle on the outside. We've been waiting on it a little while. We've had a helicopter in the air for a little while, getting a decent bit of value, nothing crazy. Some of these vehicle fights will determine the pace of this. You can already see it's a lot of map destruction on this one, especially with that bridge being blown out. That's going to change up a little bit of some of the rotations you can take to get to safety and get to the other point. Right now, the attack, this is one of their first big pushes, swinging from C2 to C1. As it looks like one of our defensive players is just trying to find any value from the outside.
Yeah, Industrial here. This is challenging, right? Because as soon as you think you're going to be finding some crazy angles, you keep peeking and you don't check your left, and that's when it's going to cost you. But when you've got the remainder of your team still elsewhere, you turn your attention towards C1, which is utter chaos. NYXE still looking to rack up their score lines. Look at those tickets, though. 114, still quite nice. When you grab one, can you grab two? Look at all the pressure. We're still making that play at the top of this staircase here. And if you've got that self-heal, you just keep on making it work and you dive right back in.
Wait, Snarf might be him. Absolutely.
He is
moving different on the map right now. They're losing C2 and retaking C1, so they're trading points yet again, but they're kind of doing it with a smaller group of people, so they should have at least some bodies over on C2 trying to play some defense. Triple Blaster is going to at least give a warning shot over to the IFV. The IFV doesn't really pay too much mind. About half health with the help of others. And it looks like Snarf's pointing it out, saying, get rid of that thing, and we're going to win this game. Looks like a vehicle battle on the outside is very, very close, but the attackers just one shot away from winning that. And you can see this map. It is all red everywhere as the defense have a final few remaining players on C2. And quickly, this map looking a little frustrating. Now, I will say, as much as the attack have been dominating, we've got to remember it is Victory Unite. We only have 100 lives. It's not a crazy amount of time. We've got to capitalize on some of these pushes and start taking both points.
Yeah, it goes incredibly quick, and I fear if Team Alpha here takes the W on the attacking side, game 2 is going to be really interesting, and you can just see no matter what the defense was able to carve back on C2 for themselves, it's immediately being recapped there by Team Alpha. You can see we got the commanders calling in that very vital redeploy time. For the next 30 seconds, they will have shortened deployment time back in to keep the pressure on, which is so incredibly important.
Good shout. Right now, both contested. Last-ditch effort here from the defense to get back over to C1, and the vehicle's going to help out with that. I believe that's a tank destroyer inside, a very powerful vehicle. So it's going to help out a ton. Try to open things up and give them a hair of breathing room, but right now I would be holding my breath. You got an urgent backup deployment just about to end. This allows your players on your team. This is something a commander can call in now. Allow your players on your team to respawn much quicker. It can help for big pushes or help for last-ditch efforts to defend a position. But even still, as much as we've been touting the attack, the defense has been scrapping by somehow, some way. And this building continues to get decimated and lose its walls all over the place. WAG gets traded out there. Can't get actually any help. All of NYXC is down. This is going to be a huge boon for the defense on C1. Down to 75. This game's not over.
I'm not gonna lie, that staircase has been one of the most fickle playgrounds I've seen for when it comes to Sector C. But G7 on your screen for the Team Alpha, still trying to make a play as well on the backs of NYXE. And here comes the chaos. Talk about all the explosions, the pressure from behind being provided by the vehicle. You can just see that heavy hitting artillery just keep on throwing it down the line into the buildings. Will Demons be able to make a play here? You can see some of that utility coming out from Tempest. She's been really fun to witness, but the flank comes in. Can we grab 2? We do get it now down the hallway, looking for any remainders. We're looking for a full clean house if we can.
G7 looking really strong. A nice, nice flank there to be able to pick up several. It's going to open things up. Another vehicle battle. These are funny. I mean, this is kind of how Threshold plays, but this battle is comedic. It's just 2 vehicles on the outskirts of the map shooting each other over and over again, and it does look like the attackers trade, but the tank destroyer comes in to try to play cleanup, is able to do so, may lose it in the process if John over here can get something down on it, but I may not have the right operator to do so. That tank destroyer may be on 1 HP, and somehow, some way, even though it's been utter chaos and decimation, the defense technically have both points partially, at the very least.
Doge, when you said 1v1s and win your ones, were you thinking those isolated 1v1s in vehicles?
No, not even kind of. This is such an odd way to take these fights, but both vehicles know that the way we win this is by having more vehicles on the map than the other person, so they want to chow that and take out the vehicles that they have the priority. It's been nice trades back and forth. Defense is stabilized.
Yeah, and they're goodbye to that vehicle on the inside here. And one of our ESG rosters, you got Matt Perez. They're going to kind of dive on over towards Titan. Titan's going to be the commander for that Team Bravo. So you've got to make sure that you're calming all the goodness from that area. Now, as I look at that Eternals Gaming roster, you do know that one of them did compete in Season 1 under Immortals. And let me just tell you, they did really stellar. I believe they were maybe one of the top performing teams on their initial squad. So maybe they didn't actually win Season 1 and they're coming back for vengeance.
Yeah, I like that shot. And here's probably one of the last big pushes that the attacks could make. Bunnyquid trying to save the day there, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. The attack pushing over C1 and C2, trying to hold both. You can see a full squad plus a couple over on C2 and everybody else defending C1. A guided missile coming in, likely for the attack. Let's see where it lands, but all I'm seeing is red on the left, red on the right. Both points potentially captured. Will our attack win? Will this guided missile change anything? And no, it's Zinseer, of course it is, able to pick up a single kill just to add a little insult to injury and a victory rewards. But everything else is just about winning the map. So here's a look at the overall and see how dominant of a performance it truly was from our attacking side. A gigantic